what I don't like about what's going on is I just view this as, well, let's watch the Democratic Party commit suicide. And like, I've been a Democrat most of my life. I kind of view myself as outside it, but I don't like watching the Democrats just commit. And what I see is most of the country doesn't really, at this point, given the fraud, waste, and abuse we know is there, 90% of the country is like, get rid of that fraud, waste, and abuse. And I just view this as yet another example of the progressive left boxing themselves into a side dance. Now, what the progressive left should be doing is saying, okay, Elon, you're clearly the most qualified person in the world to do something like this. We want to dialogue with you about how you're doing and what are you doing. I don't believe that's actually what happened. And again, I like Elon. I know I think he's obviously the most important builder in the world. And I just think, if you want to say my former side, I don't believe that they're actually engaging. I think it's like another dance where I'm supposed to say, of course, like whatever. It's like there's this one issue where I might, and then you get boxed into you cannot solve the problem. And then I would say, what is the biggest problem in this society? Biggest problem in this society from my perspective is legitimacy of our institutions. Why aren't they legitimate? They're not legitimate because, okay, do any of you really believe that 99% of your taxpayer dollars are being spent? But last and not least, and probably arguably most importantly, there's two revolutions happening. One is transparency and one is AI. Okay, so why is it that we do not know where every penny of our money goes? Like, how do you explain that to people? And by the way, slightly more technically, what large language models do is they mean you can go into the contracts and see exactly what happened. So in the past, we couldn't do this. Now we can. The right response is, we want this to happen, we want to happen, we want to be involved in the dialogue. The real response is, it feels like the people criticizing Elon don't want it to happen. And this is going to destroy those people.
Let's be real. The Democratic Party is committing slow motion suicide. For too long, they've been playing a game of side dances instead of engaging in real solutions. Most of the country is fed up with the fraud, waste, and abuse that everyone knows is there. The progressive left is boxing themselves. The hypocrisy is mind-blowing. They call Trump a bully, but who's really bullying the American people with their bloated budgets and lack of transparency? They attack Musk for wanting to sniff around taxpayer money, but isn't that exactly what we should be doing?
I've been fighting fake news reporters all day long here in the Washington, D.C. swamp who are trying to fearmonger the American people into believing that this administration is going after their hard-earned tax dollars and their hard-earned Social Security checks. So I want to set the record straight on your show tonight, Sean, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to do so. President Trump has directed Elon Musk and the Doge team to identify fraud at the Social Security Administration. They haven't dug into the books yet, but they suspect that there are tens of millions of deceased people who are receiving fraudulent Social Security payments. And so their goal in going into the Social Security Administration is to identify three things. Number one, to identify duplicate payments and to end them. Number two, to identify payments that are going to deceased people who are no longer living and should no longer be receiving that money. And number three, to protect the integrity of this system for hardworking Americans who have been paying into it their entire lives. So rest assured, to all of the people watching your show tonight, if you paid into the system honestly, you will continue to receive your Social Security checks. Do not buy into the lies from the legacy fake news media who are trying to fear you and scare you into believing otherwise. This is what we've seen them do about President Trump for years with every promise that he has made. And he's going in there to protect your hard-earned money. That is the ultimate goal.
By the way, Elon Musk has no executional mandate. He's unique. He's got his own international broadcast network called X. He just finds these issues. He 48 hours publishes them, and you read them, and every American goes, "What is this?"
That way. I've checked.
Let me to that
There's
point,
no executional rights.
To that point, he is using X, and he is using the website Doge, and you can go on the website and sort of track some of it.
It doesn't always tell you what the thing was.
But here is something that struck me and that has kind of come up recently.
Trump knew exactly what he was doing from day one. He came in with a strategy to shake up the establishment. He understood that he had limited time and couldn't waste it on political games. And that's why the Democrats were marching down everywhere, because they didn't know how to go about certain issues. Musk isn't just some rich guy playing around. He's the most important builder in the world. He's using his platforms to expose corruption and demand accountability. He's not trying to snoop around our personal finances. He's trying to ensure taxpayer dollars are used responsibly. He's shining a light on obvious conflicts of interest. And what's the response from the establishment? They panic. They fearmonger. They try to discredit him. Why? Because transparency is a threat to those who benefit from the current system. With AI and large language models, we can now analyze contracts and see exactly where the money is going. This is a game changer, and they know it. This isn't about blind faith. It's about common sense. We need a business-oriented approach to government to expose corruption and inefficiency. We need leaders who are willing to challenge the status quo and put the interests of hardworking Americans first. Let's break down some key areas. The myth of fair trade. The EU does not treat the US fairly on trade. We shouldn't pretend that everything is okay. The power of transparency. We should know where every penny of our money goes. With large language models, we can go into the contracts and see exactly what happened. The Panicking Congress members of Congress are panicking because they fear exposure. Now they will find out something about them. The left's resistance to dialogue. The people criticizing Elon don't want transparency to happen. The truth about Musk's intentions. He is not trying to snoop around personal finances, but rather focusing on how taxpayer money is spent and should be subjected to audits. So, what's the solution? Demand transparency. Demand that our elected officials support measures that increase transparency and accountability in government spending. Support disruptors. Support leaders like Trump and Musk who are willing to challenge the status quo and expose corruption. Hold the media accountable. Call out biased reporting and demand that the media adhere to the principles of fairness and accuracy. Embrace AI. Embrace the power of AI and large language models to analyze data and hold our institutions accountable. This isn't a partisan issue. It's an American issue. We all have a stake in ensuring that our government is operating efficiently and effectively. By demanding transparency and accountability, we can create a better future for ourselves and for generations to come. Let's not be fooled by the fear-mongering and the biased narratives. Let's embrace the power of transparency and support those who are willing to fight for it. It's time to take a business approach to government to expose corruption and inefficiency. It's about demanding transparency and accountability from our institutions. It's about putting the interests of hardworking Americans first. So, what do you think, Black Coffee fam? Are you ready to join the revolution of transparency? Are you ready to support leaders who are willing to challenge the status quo? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more real talk. Peace.
I put up with it.
Well,
and by the way, egg prices are supposed to come down, not airplanes.
Well, let me say someplace that could really use a lot of cutting. You know, Elon has very many what do you call it?
Government contracts.
Yeah. I think, because I don't remember, maybe y'all heard it, but I don't remember looking for an armored car. And I don't remember, I don't care what it looks like. I don't remember asking for it. I don't know why I'm paying for it.
Yeah.
I want to know, when did I say, hey, we need another agency next to NASA?
Yeah.
So when did we start paying for his stuff?
You talking about SpaceX overseeing FAA?
No. You know that he's going to be cutting NASA.
Yeah.
That's the competition. So what is the real deal here?
Money.
If we want to cut some money, let's cut some of these. I'm okay with that.
Follow the money.
Because we have to pay for it. You are paying for everything he sends up that comes back down, that falls back down and breaks up. That's out of our pockets. We'll be right back.
But one of the things he is excellent at, and the media takes the bait often, is he writes himself into every story.